Hey folks, and welcome to a TEW2020 video. This is going to be a bit different because my initial audio for this hasn't saved, so what we're going to have to hope here is that I can basically keep up to date with what's going on in the episodes. I went probably about 2 months without actually recording an episode, took a wee break for the game, but after the aftermath of All Out, yeah, we are ready, raring to go, and really hoping we can kick on the road to All Out and put on the best show possible. You can see here at Fyter Fest we have everything labelled out, and we're just making sure we can get the best show possible, and I'm really hoping that we can surpass the great shows that we've had before. You can see as well a couple of the matches we had at Fyter Fest last year. Kevin Steen, Cody Rhodes, Thunder Rosa defeating Cassie Lee for the TBS Championship, with Wendy the Clown taking on Hangman Adam Page. And also had there Keith Lee against Matt Riddle for the AEW TNT Championship, Pete Dunne against AJ Styles, and then we had Penta El Zero Miedo defeat Garza Jr. in a ladder match for the Lucha Underground Championship. A few things there as well with the Danielson Fight Dojo, that was pretty solid as well. With the episode being from June 2025 as well, we'll forward a wee bit after the show, and that'll also give us the Wrestler of the Year and the various awards so far. And this will also put us in a position as well where, as it was requested and I never got around to doing it, we'll take a wee look at my developmental at the end of the show as well. So hopefully we can see some of the stars of the future. So it seems this is going to be the case for this episode and the next one. We'll try and make sure it's not too bad. There might be a lot of static, but yeah, that's on me not double checking and being straight in it. So we'll start off the show anyway. 64,234 fans at the Lambeau Field as we are getting ready to see two guys that won't be doing battle tonight but will be doing battle at the next show, and that is Walter and John Moxley. They will be our main event for Battle of the Belts next week, and a 100 rated segment here as we see two guys that have been on great for. Walter's just came out of nowhere after winning the Owens, just like properly propelled himself up the ladder, and him and John Moxley put together a very good 100 rated segment, and Moxley getting better at his gimmick as well. Next up, Kenny Omega says he wants a match up, he wants to get back on the winning ladder, and it is a Rampage superstar that has decided to take up the challenge, and that is in the form of Zack Sabre Jr. So these two will do battle, not met for a long time since New Japan. The segment itself during 81, both guys coming across very well, and what Regal helping Sabre Jr. The bout itself had superb wrestling and great heat, and it saw Kenny pick up the win in 1913 with a one-winged angel. 86, stellar stuff there. Omega with the 96, Sabre Jr. with an 82, and Kenny Omega benefiting from having a hot new move. So it was a good chance to get Kenny on the card. I feel these two put on a classic. One of the other things we'll try to do is go over Aussie Open, and they were in tag team action against the Young Bucks. It was a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, and the Young Bucks defeated Aussie Open in 12:42 when Matt pinned Kyle Fletcher with the Meltzer driver. A 77 is not bad. It's taken a wee bit of time to get Aussie Open over in the States, but overall pretty happy with that one. You can see there both teams have an excellent chemistry together, which of course will bring some boosts. And after the matchup, Jeff Cobb decides to get in on the action, and he is going to help a 3-on-2 beatdown of the Young Bucks. Not going to turn him just yet, he is practically turning heel. There's one more member of the United Empire that's coming. It's not Ospreay, unfortunately, but we'll get a hold of him in loans. But the Great O'Khan will be coming to AEW, and he'll be coming very soon. 60 rated segment. Next up was a decent matchup for the Lucha Underground Trios Championship, and it was a decent matchup that saw Santos Fantasma, Raul Mendoza and Barbario Cavanero defeat Ringkamp, of course being Gulak, Barthel and Thatcher, in 11:33 when Fantasma pinned Gulak with a bridging German suplex, giving them their second defence of the belt. Maybe haven't utilised them too much so far, but I felt like it was 6 pretty good athletes here, good matchup, and a 72 rating. Next up, triple threat match for the Lucha Underground Championship. Sami Zayn has had issues with both Kip Sabian and Kyle O'Reilly, and in this instance it was Sammy in a good matchup, but defeated 2 in 13:58 when Sammy pinned Kip with the Brainbuster. Sami Zayn makes the defence number 3 of the Lucha Underground Championship. Kyle will carry the matchup with his 87 performance, and overall an 81 rated segment. And of course we'll change the gimmick of Kyle O'Reilly as he gets a poor rating for his turncoat gimmick. John Cena's had a lot of issues with Pete Dunne, and that's been mostly stemming on Rampage. These two will come to a head very soon, and that is a 74 rated segment. And it's so soon that matchup is next. Cena gets his revenge in a fantastic heated match and good wrestling when he defeats Pete Dunne in 7:36 with the Attitude Adjustment. 81 overall. You can see that with Cena 67, he's really struggling physically. Such was the demand that even an 8-minute match is a bit too much for him. And after the matchup, an old rival stares him down as John Cena and William Regal can have a heated moment there at 79. Then move on to the tag team specialists, Proud and Powerful, and they've been in a good little feud recently with the Kings of the Black Throne, and we have a tables match tonight, but had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. The Kings of the Black Throne defeat Proud and Powerful in a tables match in 13:59. Brody King was eliminated first, then Ortiz, and then finally Santana. Overall an 83, good matchup, and you can see there a very good rating for Malachi Black with the 89 performance. We then move on to a matchup that had great heat and good wrestling. Ricky Starks attacked Ace, taking him out of action. Hangman tried to make the save, and this has had a little mini feud here, but Starks picks up the win in 14:06 over Hangman by using underhanded tactics. And 81 is the final rating. It's 82 for Hangman, 74 for Ricky Starks, as we try and get the absolute Ricky Starks too close to the main event level. And after Ace decides to run in, he gets Ricky Starks. He gets a little bit of revenge by beating Starks down into the mat before we cut to the edge. And 80, no pun intended with that, 80 rated segment there. As I said, we're going to start phasing out some of the older guys, including Ace. This feud's been brewing on Rampage a bit between the Danielson Fight Dojo, Swerve, Keith Lee and Kevin Steen. And it was a good matchup that saw Kevin Steen defeat Swerve Strickland, Keith Lee, Brian Danielson, Claudio and Daniel Garcia in a 6-way match in 21:49, when they get the package pile driver on Daniel Garcia. An 80 rated matchup, and the victory here will give Kevin Steen an opportunity to challenge for the AEW World Championship at a future date. So good stuff there for Kev with a victory here against a lot of very game superstars. So next up we have a little visit from Bayley Rose. She of course won the female version of the Owens. She's going to check her Women's Championship matchup here, and that got a 74 rating with Bayley on the mic, as she checked out the triple threat match for the AEW Women's Championship. As a superb matchup, Mercedes Varnado defends against Jade, Cargill and Jamie Hayter, and she wins in 18:07 by submitting Jamie Hayter with a bank statement, giving her her first defence of the belt. Great from these three, an 85 overall, and Mercedes' reign carries on. After this, we then get a little bit of a confrontation, setting up the matchup for next week at Battle of the Belts, which is of course going to be Bayley Rose, Mercedes Varnado for the AEW Women's Championship. Overall the show gets a 94 thanks to the boosts, and we gain popularity in 8 regions, but you can see as always, you can carry it with a very good opener, good main event, and then it allows you to have a little bit of filler, etc. in between. So yeah, overall pretty happy with it. As I say, shame it's not a 100, but as I say, I just want to keep building people up, and now we're going to have to utilise the younger talents more than the older ones, as you're going to see a lot in the future where it'll be people will move from being full-time workers to effectively being only wanting to work events. So we'll move on from here, we'll go to the main screen and we'll see what awards have been won. So you have it, your wrestler of the year so far for the year 2025 is New Japan Pro Wrestling and occasional AEW guy Will Ospreay. We get him in loan. You can see here current IWGP World Champion quite a few matches that have been in the kind of low to mid 70s, into the 80s, some in the 90s. But the guy's had a 5-star match, a 100 rated matchup, and he's had a 70 rated matchup, which was the tag match you can probably see there. Him, Ibushi and someone else. I don't know who the Birds of Prey are, that's on me. But overall, 83 is the highest overall. So Will Ospreay is your Wrestler of the Year. So far though, AEW, that's us. We are the company of the year, constantly putting on good shows. Team of the year is the team of Hangman and Kenny. They've not had too many tag matches together, but when they do, they deliver. But it is because it is two main event guys as part of a tag team, so that would make sense in that regard. So pretty happy with that. Match of the year, obviously that Ospreay Okada match that took place at New Japan New Beginning in Hiroshima, night number 2, which was back in February. Show of the year so far was us back at Revolution, so delighted with that. That really came out well. Lorenzo Mendez is the young wrestler of the year so far. He is a new gen wrestler that entered the wrestling business, and he is currently on an exclusive written deal with CMLL. So there's that. Veteran wrestler of the year has went to Kota Ibushi. Of course, he's now in his 40s, 43, and he's obviously put on some good matches. Female wrestler of the year is, of course, the boss, the bank statement, I was going to say, but anyway, it is, of course, going to be Mercedes Varnado, and she should hopefully go on and win that. She's had an absolutely stellar year, obviously just winning the belt from Jade. Isaiah Cassidy's our independent wrestler of the year because we have him on a handshake deal, which allows him to work with AEW as well, so that's only going to hopefully get him better and better. And you can see, just look around there, you see Lana's contract is almost up with WWE. We don't need to bring her in. A few people we've got are also on deals. And this is a wee thing I wanted to quickly show as well. I really want to try and make this deal happen if I can find them. I'm hoping this is what I check for. But basically, Impact Wrestling were in a good bit of debt, and I felt like if they keep going, could we potentially buy them? I've checked here, obviously being the start of July, if they had basically went too much in debt, but they are still refusing to sell, and that will remain the case for a little bit longer, so a bit unfortunate there. And you can see here that was my attempt, but they still were not willing to sell, because I'd love to just use them as Ring of Honor in this, because obviously I started before the takeover of Ring of Honor, and then actually add a second character to book these shows and bring pay-per-views in as well. So it is that, and as I say, pretty happy with where we're at the moment. So you can see here, we then move down to developmental, and it's just going to be a wee quick kind of look at some of the superstars that we have. I'll just go through the ones that are actual wrestlers and not new gens, so you can see straight off the bat new gen, and right in then to Francesco Akira. And hopefully I go through these one by one to let you all see the stats. So I'd always advise, if there is somebody's stats you want to look at or even read a bio, just hit pause and give yourself an opportunity. I think I give a wee 2-second gap between each, but it's enough where you can pause it. I'll try and name some of these I can, but obviously it's not a live recording. So brought in the likes of Emil, she's out at Shimmer. You get a couple of the Japanese Joshies in here as well. And then a few like younger luchadors that, as I say, have great flying statistics as well. So just as we go through these, I'll just kind of describe a few. Ashanti Adonis, I just felt like had a few stats. I wanted to bring him in. He was initially going to go alongside Tez Ford, but we've managed to secure the services of Dawkins. You can see there we've got Venny / Asuka as well. Billy Matthews, the son, of course, of William Regal. Look further down there, a few new NXT UK people like Bobby Taylor, Brianna Brandy. She's got a lot of decent attributes about her, but I feel like she's not really developed at the pace I wanted her to. But we'll see what we can do with her as well. Braun Breaker, of course, Bronson Steiner, way before he was champion, so that's how his stats are a wee bit poor as well. And if we look down there as well, we can see the likes of Charlie Evans, Connie Steele. These people to add a little bit more depth to the women's division should we need it down the line. Dachi Hashimoto as well in there. A few new gens, he likes the Danny Luna in there, Daniel Bryan, not Daniel Bryan of course. We can see that we're on there of Donald Walker, Debbie Walker, David Lewis. They're all new gens. Lindemann, we brought him back. It's people that I'd love to use, and obviously my roster's massive as it is, so they've not really had the opportunity to do so. Kaz down as a trainer, you can see that there. A few more Joshies there. They're all at a good age where they can still develop, get better before they come to the main roster. Because you hope at the same time, if they're talented in a way, they can also help the younger people down there. Even Jasmine Aribe, the former Aaliyah, is still only 30, so she's got plenty of time for her to develop into a very capable worker. Keeping down there, a lot more new gens you can see there of all ages and experience. Killer Kelly, of course, of Impact Wrestling in there. See who else we've got. Liz Girvin, got Madison Miles, Maddie Went-Rinkowski. It's done a lot of appearances on Dark and Dark Elevation. A lot more Joshies in there. Masha Slamovich is in there. So there's a lot of, honestly, so much talent that we've got in this women's division that we can bring up in the future. I do want to have a thriving division, and hopefully even its own brand at one point, and maybe I need to make a third company, because I know that's how much micromanagement I seem to be using in this save. But as we keep flicking through, you can see there just a lot of the ones that don't have faces. I'll basically, when I go to call them up, give them a face off the face pack and go, right, cool, that's how I feel that character would look and should be portrayed. So that's a wee bit better. I've scrolled down here to give you a better idea of people. Parker Bordeaux would sign, Penelope Ford's down here, Raquel is still gaining experience, Reina Obscuria, the likes of Roxy, you'll see, Sarah Rowe, obviously still at a decent age where she can develop. Sky Blue, Steph DeLanda, the former Persia Pirotta, to think there. And if we just look there, other people as well, like, so as I say, Valkyrie, Vipress, Zaya Brookside. So it's more the women, because I feel they always debut younger, so they're in obviously the mod younger, but it means they can develop more. So we're hoping that we can have a really thriving women's division. But I'd say overall, it's in a good place. And scary, I think there might be over 300 wrestlers if you included the main roster and developmental. It's quite scary. So anyway, I'm going to call it there. I hope you did enjoy watching that. As I say, this is only going to be for this episode and the next one, where I have completely arsed up the audio. So basically from Fight from the Fallen onwards, the audio will be fixed. It's on me, and I apologise for that. I should have looked before I recorded the second one, or done a testing audio check. But anyway, cheers for watching. See you soon. Thanks again. Bye bye.